Right now, I'm looking at the list of classes we can use for the controller. We've gone over how to create a regular input field. Now I want to show you how to use the color picker and upload controllers. Here's what we're going to do. I want to allow users to be able to change the color of these read more links inside each post excerpt. Then I want to allow them to upload a PDF report so their visitors can download it. Let's get started. Open the miscellaneous customizer function. I've minimized a lot of the code in here so it's easier to read. As usual, the first step is create the settings. The first setting will be called JU Read More Color with the default value of #1ABC9C. This is the default color value for the links. The next setting will be JU Report File with a default value of an empty string. The next step is to create a section. However, I plan on assigning the controllers under the MISC section so we can skip on to step 3. We'll start with the color controller. At the very bottom, call the add control method. Let's go back to the list of controller classes and view the color controller. As you can see, it's not really complex to use at all. I'm going to copy the code inside this controller and paste it into the add control method like so. Let's go through this one by one. These parameters are exactly the same as the regular customizer controller. The first parameter for this class is the WP Customize object itself. The second parameter is the ID. I'm going to set this to JU Read More Color Input. The label will be Read More Link Color, which will also be translatable. Then I'm going to set the section and settings key to their corresponding values. Nothing really new so far. WordPress takes care of the rest setting up the color picker. I'm going to call the add control method again. This time we're going to set up use the upload control class. Go back to the list of classes and this time let's check out the upload control class. Just like the color picker, the upload controller is also very simple. I'm going to copy this code and paste it into our method. The code is exactly the same as last time. The WordPress team does a great job of making their customizer classes consistent. I'm going to set the ID to JU report file input. The label key will be set to file report. Then I'm going to set the section and settings key to their corresponding values. Just like that, we now have the settings and controllers all set up. The next step is to have these values reflected onto the theme. Let's start with the read more color. Open the enqueue function for the front end. I'm going to add my code right after where we enqueue the files. The color we have will be dynamic. Dynamic CSS is kind of hard to pull off because of the solutions that are available. There are two ways we can go about this. The first solution would be to create a PHP file that will output the dynamic CSS and change the headers. The second solution would be to use inline styles. Both of these solutions are completely valid and I've seen developers use one or the other. It is really up to you. This is a really simple CSS change, so I'm going to use inline styles. It's quicker and easier to understand. I'm going to call the function WP add inline style. As the name suggests, this will load inline styles inside the head tag of the document. The great thing about this function is that it will only load the inline styles if a particular file is enqueued. You can specify that as the first parameter. I only want to load these inline styles if the JU custom file is loaded. The second parameter is the CSS itself. You input this as a string. I'm going to paste in some simple CSS. There's nothing really complex going on here. All I'm doing is changing the color of the link and its border using the dynamic color setting. Just like that, the read more link will be dynamic. The last thing to do is to display the link to the downloadable report. Open the footer file. I'm going to add this code right after the copyright text. Inside a conditional statement, I'm going to check if the mod JU report file has a value. The upload controller will set the value to the full HTTP URL to the file itself. It will take care of uploading and processing the file for you. With that said, if there is a file, then I want to output a simple anchor link with the text download report. Make sure to add a break tag afterwards. That basically wraps it up. Let's refresh the customizer and check if everything works. By default, the links should still be this green-blue color and the download link in the footer should not appear. Change the color to any color you want and then upload a file for the report. In the resource section of this lecture, I provide a link to this report. Feel free to download it and use it. After making your changes, you should see everything work properly. That's it for the customizer. It's a lot of code to write, but the process is very straightforward. I highly encourage you to play with it more to get better at using it.